So again, no, first is the regular corporate income tax rate for domestic corporation and resident foreign corporations with a tax rate of 30% of net taxable income. So, if you can still recall the tax rates no used for individual taxpayers, 'di ba, we have the graduated tax rate or the 8% no as the case may be. But here for corporations, we have a fixed rate of 30%. So, hindi gagamitin yung tax table dito, okay? Second is for non-resident foreign. The regular corporate income tax rate is 30% of gross income. Take note, the difference between the tax rate of a domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation and a non-resident foreign corporation. Yung sa domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation, yung tax rate niya is 30% of net taxable income. Yung basis is the net taxable income. Meaning to say, aside from deducting the cost of sales, we also deduct the operating expenses for you to arrive at the net taxable income. So let me illustrate that. Illustration tayo, no? Para simple. Okay. So let us just recall the formula. Ano ba yung formula natin? So we are now in tax on corporations. Okay. So this is the formula. Remember, gross sales or receipts less cost of sales equals gross income. Okay. Less operating expenses. Let's make this bigger. So yung difference niyan is the net taxable income. Okay? So for lagyan natin dito resident teka muna. Domestic and resident foreign corp. So for domestic and resident foreign corp, harap natin. Okay. So yung 30% natin is based sa, dito pala, net taxable income. Yan. So dyan tayo magbe-base ng 30%. Okay? But for non-resident foreign corporation, okay? For non-resident foreign corporation, yung tax base natin is dito sa gross income. Okay? So that is the difference between the two. So domestic or resident foreign corporation, yung 30% nakabase sa net taxable income. But for non-resident foreign corporation, yung 30% nakabase sa gross income. Okay? Now, another kind of tax here, the third one is the minimum corporate income tax. So, isummarize natin, summary of income tax rates for corporations. So, number one is yung regular corporate income tax. 30% of net taxable income This is with respect to domestic and resident foreign. Regular corporate income tax, 30% of the gross income. Third one is tinatawag natin na MCIT or the minimum corporate income tax, which is 2%. 2% of gross income for domestic and resident foreign corp. Okay? So, dahil walang sinabi tungkol sa non-resident foreign corporation, 30% yung mag-a-apply. So, hindi mag-a-apply sa kanila yung minimum for corporate income tax. Okay? And, may kulang dito, no? Pero kulang yung tawag doon, improperly accumulated earnings tax. Ayan. Improperly accumulated earnings tax. Magkano yung sorry. Can you see it? Improperly accumulated earnings tax. Ito pala. Magkano yan? That is 10%. Okay? Hanapin natin yung IA80. That is 10% of the improperly accumulated
Attorney, excuse me po, nakamute ka po, attorney.
Kanina pa ako nakamute.
Kadtong time na nabalik ka sa attorney.
Okay, sige. So let's start with ibalikan natin yung yung sinabi ko kanina na ito siya, itong nakita natin na summary dito. These are the basic lang, no? General rule lang ito. Later, you will learn that there are also other tax rates here. No? Kasi merong mga preferential tax rates, no, for certain kinds of corporations. Like schools, meron silang preference, no? Meaning to say, mas mababa yung kanilang tax rate. Okay? At may mga non-resident foreign corporations also na iba-iba din yung kanilang tax rate. So, malalaman natin later. But basically, ito yung summary of income tax rates for corporations. So, as we go along, no, in our discussion, i-add natin dito yung mga special tax rates, okay? So, in the meantime, ito muna. Okay, focus muna tayo dito. So, let's start with Section 27, Rates of income tax on domestic corporations. Alam nyo, yung domestic corporations, yung situs niyan, pag-usapan muna natin yung situs of taxation here. Kasi, hindi, yung situs na pinag-usapan natin last time is about individual taxpayers. So, eto for corporations, ano ba yung situs of taxation? Yung domestic corporation, para it is like a resident citizen, no? Parang resident citizen yan. Kasi yung situs ng taxation ng domestic corporation within and without the Philippines, no? Lahat ng income ng domestic corporation within and outside the Philippines are subject to income tax here in the Philippines. But domestic corporation lang, kasi yung resident foreign at saka non-resident foreign corporation, yung situs nila is yung income lang nila within the Philippines, yan lang yung subject sa income tax here in the Philippines. Okay? The same is true with partnerships kasi corporations, depende kung ano yung partnership with domestic or foreign. Pero partnerships are generally domestic, no? Okay? So yun ang situs of taxation. So remember the formula. We start with gross sales or receipts. Anong ibig sabihin ng gross sales or receipts? Nasa definition yan. Anyone who can read the definition of gross sales or receipts? Ay, ito pala. Wala siya sa section 27, but the definition given here is the term gross income, which means that it is an income derived from business equivalent to gross sales, less sales returns, discounts and allowances, and cost of goods sold. Ano yung cost of goods sold? It includes all business expenses directly incurred to produce the merchandise to bring them to their present location and use. So sa madaling salita, when you say gross sales or receipts, mao na imong halin, okay, sa imuhang negosyo or sa imong services. That is the amount you actually earned in engaging in business or in the practice of profession, okay? Like for example, meron kang benta na worth 100,000 in a day. So lahat ng pera na nabenta mo or goods na nabenta mo, goods na nabenta mo, whether bayad o hindi, are considered gross sales, okay? Part ng gross sales yan, kahit na inutang, okay? Actually received or incurred, okay? So, ano itong gross income? Sabi ng definition ng section 27, gross income daw is equivalent to gross sales. Ito, gross sales, right? Less sales returns, discounts and allowances. So, parang medyo complicated siya. Lagyan natin ng isa pang insert. Okay, para maintindihan. Less sales returns. Ano ibig sabihin ng sales returns? Kung nagbenta ka, isinauli, edi sales returns. Yung value ng goods na yan, i-deduct mo kasi ni-return. So meaning to say, hindi siya naibenta successfully. So, kailangan nating i-deduct. Discounts. Sometimes, yung mga goods, merong discounts, di ba? So, syempre, kasi yung discounts, hindi naman yan kita kasi nga discount, di ba? So, kailangan nating i-deduct from the gross sales. And allowances. Pa. Okay? So, ang tawag natin dito is, teka muna. Ayan. Dak muna. Delete. Ayan, di ba? Sabi ng definition, gross income daw is equivalent to gross sales, less sales returns, sales discounts and allowances, less cost of sales, equals gross income. Ayan. Ito, napag-usapan na natin ano yung sales returns at saka sales discounts. Ano naman yung cost of sales? Ano yung cost of sales? Okay, ganito. Kung may negosyo ka, meron kang cost, tama? Meron kang capital, right? Like for example, yung business mo is, ano ba yung business mo? Nagbibenta ka, sari-sari store. Simplihan lang natin. Meron kang sari-sari store. Makakabenta ka ba sa sari-sari store kung wala kang paninda? Di ba hindi? So, anong kailangan gawin? E di, bumili ka ng mga goods, supplies, whatever, para ibenta sa sari-sari store mo. Tama? Now, pag bili mo ng mga goods na yan, ng mga supplies, hindi naman yan libre. Tama? Of course, you are paying for that. Ngayon, pag benta mo niyan, syempre, lalagyan mo ng tubo. Tama? Kasi, paano ka magkakaroon ng income kung wala ka namang tubo or markup no sa cost ng mga goods na binibenta mo. Okay? Otherwise, quit engaging in business no if you do not know how to mark up your goods. Now, saan doon ang cost of sales? The cost of sales, yun yung capital. Okay? Yun yung cost ng goods at supplies na binili mo para ibenta. Okay? So, yun ang cost of sales. Now, take note that yung cost of sales, nag-a-apply lang yan kapag ikaw ay engage in the business of selling. Okay? Or goods. Kapag goods yung subject matter ng business mo. Kasi if yung binibenta mo is serbisyo, hindi cost of sales ang tawag doon. Okay? Anong tawag doon? Cost of services, di ba? Kasi kapag nagre-render ka ng service, meron ka namang cost. Like for example, if you are a lawyer, you have secretaries to pay, di ba? Meron kang empleyado. So, yung cost of service mo is yung cost ng salaries ng secretary, cost ng papel na ginamit mo, di ba? So that could be your cost of sales, no? Basta anything, any expenses that are directly related, no, to the goods to bring them to their present location and use, yan yung cost of sales or services, okay? Another example of cost of sales, yung freight or delivery fee, okay? Kasi to bring them to the location, di ba? Sometimes sinasali natin yan sa cost, okay? Kasali yan kasi part directly related siya, directly incurred, no? Para ibenta yung product or goods, okay? So, kapag i-deduct natin yung sales returns, sales discounts and allowances, tsaka cost of sales sa gross sales or receipts, lagyan natin dito service kasi, okay? Then, yung difference niyan is yung tinatawag natin na gross income. Okay? Now, ano naman itong operating expenses? Ano yung operating expenses? May mga expenses kasi na hindi siya directly related or directly incurred to produce the merchandise to bring them to their present location and use. kahit na hindi ka makabenta ng goods or hindi ka magkaroon ng client no, for your services, still mag-i-incur ka ng mga expenses na ito. So, yun ang operating expenses. Expenses necessary for the operation, regardless of whether or not nakabenta ka. Okay? Nakuha nyo? Example niyan, yung kuryente, tubig, okay? Yung renta mo sa office, di ba? Ano pa? Maintenance, o whatever, di ba? So, may mga expenses na hindi siya directly related or incurred sa goods, pero necessarily kailangan mo siyang i-incur. Okay? So, yun ang operating expenses. So, if you deduct operating expenses from the gross income, then you will arrive at the net taxable income. Now, balikan natin yung tax base no, for corporations. Una, if yung corporation is a domestic corporation or a resident foreign corporation, yung 30% income tax rate natin will be based from the net taxable income. Meaning to say, you will have to go through this computation bago mo multiply yung 30%. Okay? Now, for non-resident foreign corporation, hanggang gross income ka lang. Kasi yan yung sabi ng batas, di ba? So, you need not find the net taxable income if the taxpayer is a non-resident foreign corporation. So, diretso ka na kapag nakuha mo na yung gross income, diretso multiply by 30%, then that's it. That's your regular income tax rate. Okay? Ay, income tax rather. Now, let's go to, ito. Ano naman itong cost of goods manufactured and sold? Medyo complicated, di ba? Pero, with respect to cost of goods manufactured and sold, ano lang yan, yung difference lang nila sa cost of goods sold is, yung cost of goods sold is for merchandising concern, meaning to say, buy and sell. Ang merchandising kasi, kung ano yung binili mo, yun din yung same product na binibenta mo. Okay? Gaya ng sari-sari store. Yung manufacturing concern naman, manufacturing company, bumibili ka ng raw materials and then you process the raw materials para maging finished product siya. Anong example niyan? Gaya ng mga ano ba?
Furniture shop.
Yes, exactly. Pwede. No, na bibili ka ng mga materials, yung kahoy, yung rattan, tapos meron kang of course naakay lansang, di ba? May nana. And then from the raw materials, you process it. Process means you transform it no from raw materials to a finished product. So, ngayon meron ka ng finished product. So, that could be, no? Ano pa? Yung, bigyan niyo ko ng example. I cannot think of an example of a manufacturing company.
Ka na mga catering services, attorney.
Catering services yan sila. So, hindi sila manufacturing. Goods kasi yung manufacturing. Yung mga factory. Kana ganing mga kuan, kanang mga jug, water jug, ay kanang suda nagtubig ba? Nakakuan mo ana? Nakakita mo ana ginaunsa na pagbuhat? Nag-chat. Pwede. Kopras na himuog mantika. Okay, pwede na siya no from raw materials coconut, di ba? And then you convert it into an oil. So, pwedeng from palm trees or from coconuts. Okay? Or from vegetables. Kaya meron tayong vegetable oil, di ba? So, yung mga ganon. So, nagmamanufacture ka. Meaning, yung raw material, binibili mo, marami kang raw materials and then you convert it into a finished product. And yung finished product, yun yung binibenta natin. So that is a manufacturing, an example of a manufacturing concern. So ang tawag sa cost of goods manufactured and sold, meaning lahat daw ng mga materials, labor, direct labor or overhead na ginamit mo para mag-manufacture ng product, part yon ng cost of goods manufactured and sold. Okay? So, sa madaling salita, yung cost of goods manufactured and sold, kagaya lang yan ng cost of sales. Kaya lang complicated. Marami ka kasing ginamit. Okay? Now, let's proceed. Letter B. Section 27B. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na merong mga preferential tax rates, no? So we have proprietary educational institutions and hospitals. So, diretso na. Proprietary educational institutions and hospitals. So, 10% of the net taxable income. Okay? Pero take note here that kailangan if you are a proprietary educational institution, before you can avail of the 10% preferential tax rate, dapat yung gross income mo from unrelated trade, business or other activity does not exceed 50% of the total gross income. Okay? So, dapat provided gross income from unrelated activities do not exceed 50% of the total gross income. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Kung yung mga schools tsaka mga hospitals, meron yan silang mga commercial activities, aside from providing their basic services, gaya ng, let us say, nagpaparenta sila ng commercial space. 'Di ba? Kasi may mga schools na merong mga commercial area, 'di ba? Commercial spaces. So pinaparentahan nila sa mga private, companies or kahit kanino, basta commercial. Kasi hindi naman siya related, 'di ba, sa educational purpose ng schools. Okay? Hospitals. Let us say merong canteen yung hospital, mga ganyan. Kasi hindi naman related yung canteen sa hospital services na pinoprovide. So, ngayon, kunin mo yung gross income from unrelated activities. Okay? And then, kunin mo yung total gross income from related and unrelated activities. Kung related yan, tingnan mo yung purpose ng corporation. Kung educational, kung ang income mula sa mga educational activities, gaya ng library, ng books, ng teachers, tawa ko. Tuition fees, yon pinaka-basic. Miscellaneous, income, mga ganyan. So, yun yung mga related, di ba? Tsaka kunin mo din yung mga unrelated, i-total mo, edi yun yung total gross income. Okay? Ngayon, yung gross income mo from unrelated activities, i-divide mo yan sa total gross income, makukuha mo yung rate. So kapag nag-exceed yung gross income mo from unrelated activities ng 50%, okay? Yung regular corporate income tax na 30% will be applicable kasi nag-exceed na siya ng 50% of the total gross income. Pero kung yung gross income mo from unrelated activities, hindi yan nag-exceed ng 50% ng total gross income, then you can avail of the preferential tax rate of 10%. Ano ba yung essence niyan? Ang essence lang po para hindi kayo mawala sa principle is, di ba for educational purpose ka, bakit nagkakanda ka ngayon ng mga commercial activities? Yan yung essence niyan. Binibigyan ka ng preferential tax rate kasi noble yung purpose mo for educational purpose. For medical purpose, no? Kaya binibigyan ka ng preferential tax rate ng batas. Pero kung ang ginawa mo lang is magparenta outside your primary purpose, then you are no longer serving your purpose as a corporation and therefore you should be taxed with 30%. Okay? Regular corporate income tax. Kasi hindi mo na ginagawa yung purpose mo. Ginagawa mo ngayon yung ibang activities na in the guise of building an educational institution or a hospital. Okay? Para hindi nyo malimutan. So, bigyan ko ng example ng mga ancillary activities. Alam nyo, yung mga schools, meron yung mga ancillary activities, no? Gaya ng cafeteria or canteen, dormitories, bookstores, di ba? School bus, hospitals, and pharmacies or drugstores. So, pwedeng related yan, no, for the purpose ng school. Kasi cafeteria or canteen, para hindi na lumabas yung mga students. So, even if nag-i-income ka from cafeteria or canteen, that can still be considered as a related activity, no, for schools. Okay, pwede yun. Dormitories, if it is inside the school premises. So, you can claim that, no, as a related activity. Bookstore, no, kapag nasa loob ng school, merong bookstore sa school. And for the benefit of the students, okay? Students of the school. Pero kung yung bookstore mo nasa labas ng school premises tsaka anyone, no, from the public can buy from it, then parang parang outside na siya, 'di ba? Parang unrelated na siya kasi parang nagninegosyo ka na ng bookstore, no, separate from the school, okay? Actually, kailangan mong i-examine yung facts, no? Kailangan mong i-examine yung circumstances of the case, no? Hindi naman lahat na kung meron kang cafeteria, unrelated agad, no? Depende, okay? Now, let's go to government-owned or controlled corporations, agencies, or instrumentalities. Okay? Generally, alam nyo, kahit na GOCC ka, generally, subject ka talaga sa tax, sa regular income tax rate of 30%. That is the general rule. Kasi, dahil sa vastness, no, ng coverage ng taxation, because of the state's power to tax, di ba sabi natin, supreme, ultimate, di ba? The state can actually tax its own GOCCs, no? Pwede niyang i-tax kasi napaka-general, napaka-universal, napaka-supreme ng power of taxation, di ba? So, yung general rule natin all the time is taxable. Yan yung general rule natin. Kahit na government corporation yan, okay? Ang exemption lang to the rule by express provision of the NIRC are the following. Okay? Lagyan natin dito, GOCCs. So, GOCCs generally subject to 30%, no? RCIT, okay? Except the following. 1. GSIS. 2. PhilHealth. 3. LWDs or local water districts. 4th, the social security system. Bakit sila naging exempted from regular corporate income tax? Puntahan yung mga mga charter nila. Nakasaad kasi sa charters nila na exempted sila from regular corporate income tax. Pero kung walang sinabi yung charters nila, yung law creating these government corporations, then generally masasubject talaga sila sa 30% regular corporate income tax. Okay? Now, ang isa sa mga amendments ng train law dito is ni-remove nila yung PAGCOR. Matagal na pala na-remove yung PAGCOR, no? Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. Hindi pala siya sa train law natanggal. But before, kasali yan sa exempted, but now hindi na. Okay? So remember the government corporations which are exempt from the payment of the regular corporate income tax. Ito pala yung nabago sa train law, yung taxable income ng PCSO. Okay? PCSO was removed from the list of GOCCs exempt from the payment of income tax. So subject na sila sa regular corporate income tax of 30%. Basta basically kapag hindi ka kasali sa listahan ng mga exempted, subject ka sa 30% regular corporate income tax. So huwag mo nang hanapin kung exempted ba yung particular government corporation. Basta wala siya sa listahan, subject siya. Okay? Okay, yan yung mga preferential, no? Now, on passive income. Passive income. Alam niyo na, di ba, kung ano yung passive income. Ito, mga regular corporate income yan. Okay? Ito, passive income. Okay? So, for passive income, paragraph D, interest from deposits and yield or any other monetary benefit, 20%. O gaya ng individual, interest, income, subject to 20%. Okay. Next, we have interest from under the expanded interest income under the expanded foreign currency deposit system, 15%. Same principle sa individual taxpayer. Then we have capital gains from sale of shares of stocks. Ito, mga capital gains. Shares of stock. 15% of the net capital gain. Okay. Now for intercorporate dividends, ano tong intercorporate dividends. Yung corporation, stockholder siya ng another corporation, okay? Kasi hindi lang naman individual person yung pwedeng maging stockholder ng corporation. So pwedeng merong another corporation na nag-invest din siya in another corporation. So kapag nag-declare ngayon ng dividends yung corporation, so magkakaroon ng intercorporate dividends kasi dalawang corporation between two corporations. But take note here that para maging exempt ito sa passive income tax, dapat yung dividends is na received by a domestic corporation from another domestic corporation. Okay? Para exempt siya. Domestic pa tayo, no? Domestic pa. Okay? Capital gains from sale of real property. Real properties. Again, we have 6%. Okay? 6% of yung whichever is higher, fair market value selling price anta, selling price, fair market value, assess source, and or zonal value as whichever is higher. Ayan. So whichever is higher. Okay? Nasabtan? Any question so far? Let's change this for domestic. Okay. Yan. Tanggalin natin to. Para hindi kayo malito, no? So this should be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So balikan natin yung minimum corporate income tax. Ayan, napag-usapan natin kanina. Merong minimum corporate income tax, di ba? So ano naman yung role nito? Under paragraph E of section 27, a minimum corporate income tax of 2% of the gross income as of the end of the taxable year, as defined herein, is hereby imposed on a corporation taxable under this title beginning on the 4th taxable year immediately following the year in which such corporation commenced its business operations, when the minimum corporate income tax is greater than the tax computed under subsection A of this section for the taxable year. So, sa madaling salita, ang role ng minimum corporate income tax is to avoid tax fraud. Okay? Yung mga under-declarations of income para maiwasan yung pag-under-declare ng income. Kasi kapag nag-under-declare ka ng income, balik tayo sa computation. Diba, gross sales or receipts. Kapag hindi mo dineclare lahat ng income mo, meaning to say, ang effect niyan, mababa yung taxable income mo. Kung mababa yung taxable income mo, mababa din yung income tax due, tama? So, anong epekto nun sa government? Ang epekto, walang collection or maliit yung collection ng government. So, para maiwasan yung under-declaration ng income, kaya nabuhay yung tinatawag nating minimum corporate income tax, okay? Or tinatawag nating MCIT, no? In short. So, saan daw nakabase yung MCIT? Dito daw sa gross income. Yan. Ngayon, ano yung function niya? Anong function niya ngayon? Ang function niya is actually, compute ka na, di ba? Kinumpute mo na yung gross sales, nag-less ka na ng sales returns, nag-less ka na ng cost of sales, nag-arrive ka na sa gross income. Regularly, normally, magli-less ka pa ng operating expenses, tama? Para makuha mo yung net taxable income, tsaka ka mag-multiply ng 30%, tama? Okay? So, after mo i-multiply ng 30%, makukuha mo yung income tax, okay? Income tax due. Ngayon, yung income tax due mo, i-compare mo yan sa 2% of the gross income. Kung sino yung mas malaki, yon ang babayaran ng taxpayer. Nakuha nyo? Let's have an illustration, no, para maintindihan mabuti yung minimum corporate income tax. Ganito na illustration. Kunyari, merong gross sales na 500,000. Ayan, prepare niyo yung calculator. Okay, I will call somebody to answer my question. Let us say yung sales returns, yung sa total 500,000 na gross sales mo, may isinauli kasi may sira, okay? Or may bulok na goods, o may sira na goods, so binalik, di ba? So ngayon, let's say, 50,000 yung sira, worth of sira na goods. Naibalik, di ba? Ngayon yung cost of sales natin, let us say that is 50% of the gross sales. Okay? Kung 50% yan ng gross sales, mean to say, 250,000 yung cost of sales. Kunyari lang yan yung kibali yung capital. Okay? So, magkano yung gross income? Ano nga yung definition ng gross income? It is equivalent to gross sales less sales returns, sales discounts and allowances, less cost of sales equals the gross income, di ba? Now, normally, kapag kumukuha ka ng normal income tax, no, ng regular corporate income tax, kailangan muna nating i-deduct yung operating expenses before we arrive at the net taxable income, tama? So, let us say, for example, gumastos ka ng kuryente, ng tubig, ng sweldo, ng admin mo, and then, maintenance, whatever, yan. So, less natin, let's say, 10,000, ulit lang. Okay? So, yung net taxable income natin is gross income less operating expenses. So, yan yung net taxable income. So, normally, regular corporate income tax, okay? Capital natin. Okay, kung magsagot kayo, wag nyong ARCIT Bawal yon. Mortal sin sa akin yan. Dapat you spell out. Normally, you will multiply that by 30%, right? So, times 30%. So, magkano yung ano? Ay. Uy, walang value. Sorry. 30% lang. 30%. Oh. So, okay. 57,000 normally yung tax na babayaran mo, di ba? Based sa ating computation. Yan yung sagot. Yan yung tax due. Okay? Pero, sabi ng batas, kailangan nating i-compare yan sa minimum corporate income tax. No? Yun na nga, yung purpose ng MCIT is para maiwasan yung under-declaration of income. No? Para ma-sure talaga na merong makolek yung government. Kasi yung ibang mga taxpayers, hindi nila dinideclare. Diba? Kasi it would be impossible for you to conduct business and at the same time incur losses for 4 years already. Tapos, yung statement of income mo is losses, 'di ba? Paano ka nakaka-survive kung losses ka, 'di ba? So, there is something wrong sa declaration mo. Kaya merong MCIT. So, ang MCIT, kopyahin lang natin. Ayan. Oh. So, diretso na tayo dito, 2%. O di, 4,000 lang. O, i-compare. Compare mo yung regular corporate income tax sa MCIT. Kung saan ang mas malaki, yun ang babayaran ng taxpayer. Since in this particular case, mas malaki yung RCIT, then 57,000 yung babayaran. Okay? Yan yung illustration for minimum corporate income tax. Now, kailan ba nag-a-apply yung minimum corporate income tax? Pag-start ba ng business? The answer is no. Kasi it would be parang ang bigat-bigat naman, no? Nagsa-start ka pa tapos kukunan ka na ng 2% sa gross income. Actually, under paragraph 1 of letter E, yung minimum corporate income tax, ini-impose yan on the 4th taxable year, immediately following the year in which such corporation commences its business operation. Meaning to say, kung nag-start ka ng 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, so sa 2022 ka pa, i-tax ng MCIT. Okay? Tama ba ako? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Tama. Beginning on the 4th taxable year. Okay? So, dun ka pa itatax, no? ng MCIT bago basta 4th taxable following the 4th taxable year, no? Okay, just remember the essence no of MCIT. Okay? Hindi naman kailangan na mag-complicate tayo dyan. Basta yun yung purpose niya. Okay? Yan yung purpose. Para ma-avoid balikan natin yung purpose ng MCIT. 'Di ba dapat inimpose yung MCIT kasi para maiwasan yung under-declaration of income. Tama? Kasi nga, 'di ba, nasa 4 years ka na sa operation, losses ka pa rin. Nakuha nyo? It is unnatural, no? Unusual siya for a business to exist for a period of 4 years and yet nag-incur siya ng losses or lesser income. So, paano siya nakaka-survive ngayon, 'di ba? Ng 4 years. Kaya ngayon, it's time na for the state no to impose the 2% minimum corporate income tax to make sure na talagang true at saka tama yung dinideclare ng taxpayer. Okay? Ano naman itong carry forward of excess minimum tax? Masyado na complicated, no? So, bigyan ko kayo ng table para i-simplify natin yung matter. Table. Lagyan natin dito. Simplify natin. Mas maintindihan. So, excess. Carry over. Or, sorry. Carry forward pala. Of excess MCIT. So, paano ba yan i-illustrate? Gawa tayo ng table. Hindi. Okay. Gawa tayo ng table, no, para ano. So, ito year, taon. Then, RCIT. Gamitin natin yung RCIT, no, kasi ano, para hindi pa bago-bago yung term natin. Kasi sa book, normal. Ngayon, gusto kong gamitin yung regular corporate income tax. Okay, MCIT. Para hindi kayo ma-confuse sa mga terms, no? And excess. Okay? MCIT. Ayan. So, year, lagyan natin 2018. Yung RCIT mo is 50,000. Assuming na-compute na natin yung regular corporate income tax. So, gaya ng sabi ko, kapag given na po, wag na pong mag-abalang mag-compute. You are wasting your time. So, dito, let us say 75,000. So, di ba, sabi natin, let's assume na yung 2018 for taxable year yan, okay? Now, di ba, sabi natin, i-compare natin yung RCIT tsaka MCIT, kung ano yung mas malaki, yun ang babayaran ng taxpayer. So, in this case, in year 2018, ang binayaran ng taxpayer is 75,000, tama? Kasi siya ang mas malaki kesa sa RCIT. So, meaning to say, merong excess na 25,000. Okay, meron siyang excess na binayaran na 25,000. So, ang tax payable natin is 75,000 for the year 2018. Now, let's go to the next year. Illustrate natin mabuti, no, para maintindihan. Let's add tables. So, punta tayo ng 2019. Okay? 60,000. Then, ito, 100,000. So, ano yung tax payable? Income tax payable? Ano, magkano, Miss De Villeres? Yung tax payable dito?
40,000, attorney.
Ano kang 40,000? Ano nga yung principal? Bakit 40,000? Tax payable, yung question. So, ano yung tax payable natin into 2019? Miss Fatima, ano yung tax payable in 2019?
100,000.
Why?
It is great. The minimum corporate income tax return is greater than the RCIT. That's why the law provides that the tax payable should be which tax is greater.
Okay, so that's correct. Okay, you listen, Ms. De Villeres, ha? The tax payable is 100,000 because the law provides that kung saan yung mas malaki, yan yung tax payable. Okay? So meaning to say, in this particular case, meron na namang excess MCIT, right? So magkano yung excess? Yan yung sagot ni Ms. De Villeres. 40,000. Okay? Now, let's go to year 2020. Let's say 100,000. Yung MCIT natin, 60,000. Okay? Now, in this particular case, nag-iba ang ihip ng hangin. Tama? Ang mas mataas is the RCIT than the MCIT, right? So, magkano supposedly yung tax payable natin dito, Miss Tripoli?
The tax payable in that case, attorney, is the RCIT or the regular corporate income tax, which is 100,000 because it is higher than the MCIT.
Okay, that's correct, no? Pero, take note that meron tayong mga excess MCIT. So, ano pala yung rule ng mga excess MCIT? Ang gagawin natin, ililess natin yung excess MCIT in the immediately preceding year. Okay, in the immediately preceding year. So, instead na 100,000 yung total na babayaran ng taxpayer, hindi na talaga 100,000 kasi merong mga excess previously. 'Di ba? Magkano yung in the preceding year? Teka muna, balikan natin yung principle. Okay, yung principle is yung excess daw ng minimum corporate income tax over the regular corporate income tax or the normal income tax shall be carried forward, ayan, take note, carried forward and credited against the normal income tax or the regular corporate income tax for the 3 immediately succeeding taxable years. So meaning to say, itong 25,000, i-carry over natin yan sa RCIT kapag ang RCIT is greater than the MCIT in the next 3 years. Okay? So kung ika-4th year na, dili na siya pwede ma-deduct, no? So in this case, 2020 pa man ta, so i-minus na to ang 25,000, right? Kay 1920, o 2 years pa man. For the 3 immediately succeeding taxable year. So, masulod pa siya, no? So, minus 25,000, okay? Libog ni. MCIT in 2018, okay? Then, you also deduct the excess MCIT in 2019. Magkano yun? 40,000. Ayan. So, meaning to say, yung net tax payable mo will no longer be 100,000, but 35,000 pesos. Okay? Nakuha nyo? Yan yung application ng carry forward. No? Carry forward of excess minimum tax. So meaning to say, parang parang in short of saying na hindi talaga lugi si taxpayer, no? Kasi by the time na mas malaki yung RCIT niya, i-deduct din naman natin yung excess MCIT na nabayaran niya. Parang nag-advance payment lang siya, okay? So, that is how you apply paragraph, paragraph yan, 2 of letter E, okay? I hope nakuha niyo yung computation. Now, relief from the minimum corporate income tax under certain conditions. So, may mga times na you can ask the commissioner para hindi ka magbayad ng MCIT. Relief, para ma-free ka from payment of MCIT. Kung nag-suffer ka ng losses, on account of prolonged labor dispute, or because of force majeure, or because of legitimate business reverses. So you can write to the Secretary of Finance, rather not the Commissioner, para you can ask para i-suspend yung imposition ng minimum corporate income tax. Of course, you should prove that you are suffering losses. Okay? So, next, kaya pa sa power? I-review na lang natin, Review natin yung domestic corporations. Okay? Every time you are confronted with problems, concerning domestic corporations, magkano yung tax ng domestic, ng resident foreign, na non-resident foreign, you should go back to the formula. Ito lang po ang formula na kailangan nating tandaan. Okay? You start with gross sales or receipts, less sales return, sales discounts, and allowances. Just like we said earlier na ito yung mga, kunyari, sira yung naibenta mo, of course, isasauli yan ng customer. Or kapag nagbigay ka ng discounts or allowances, so yung mga promo, yung mga ganyan, so ano yan siya, gaya ng sa Jollibee, di ba nagbibigay sila ng coupons na discounted. Okay? Yun yung mga allowances kasi pwedeng i-avail yan ng customer o hindi. So, in accounting, yung ginagawa namin dyan, naglalagay kami ng allowance. Baka kasi may bumalik na customer, gamitin yung coupon. So, yan yung allowances actually, technically, yung term na yan. Then, we have cost of sales or services. Again, ito yung cost ng capital. Okay? So, i-deduct mo yung dalawa, makukuha mo yung gross income. Then, less operating expenses, then you arrive at the net taxable income, which is the tax base for domestic and resident foreign corporation. Okay? But with respect to non-resident foreign corporation, hanggang gross income ka lang. Okay? Hanggang dito ka lang. So, hindi mo na kailangang mag-less ng operating expenses. For domestic corporations, ito yung mga tax rates na gagamitin natin. For regular corporate income tax, 30% of the net taxable income. Ito yun siya, di ba? Now, for minimum corporate income tax, again, yung essence ng MCIT is para maiwasan yung mga under-declaration ng income. Okay? Kasi nga, di ba, nasa 4 years ka na, losses ka pa din, or mababa yung dinideclare mo na income. How did you survive the 4 years of operation with a low income or with losses, di ba? So that would be unusual, no? So meaning to say, baka may mga magic dyan. So kailangan natin i-apply yung MCIT. Ano yung role ng MCIT? Iko-compare natin yung result ng 2% of the gross income versus the 30% of the net taxable income. Okay? Compare natin yung RCIT tsaka MCIT. Whichever is greater, then that will be the income tax payable. Okay? Now, napag-usapan din natin yung carry forward of excess MCIT. Meaning to say, hindi lugi si taxpayer. Kasi yung excess na nabayaran niya, pwedeng i-carry over yan to the immediately succeeding taxable years. Okay? Hanggang 3 years lang ha. So kapag 4 years na, hindi mo na makiklaim. Okay? Hanggang 3 years lang. Okay? Tandaan nyo. Baka kasi i-deduct nyo pa sa 4th year. Okay? So, gaya ng example natin dito. Okay? Remember the example. Then we also have improperly accumulated earnings tax, 10% of the IATI. Okay? IATI. Reserve this kind of tax, no? Kapag matapos natin lahat ng corporations. I-reserve nyo muna yan. Okay? Then, we have preferential tax rate for proprietary educational institutions and hospitals of 10% of the net taxable income provided yung gross income mo from unrelated activities do not exceed 50% of the total gross income. Kasi kapag nag-exceed ka na ng 50%, you are now subject to 30% regular corporate income tax. For GOCCs, generally, sabi ko, dahil napaka-universal, supreme, unlimited ng power of taxation, even government corporations are subject to income tax. Generally. So, 30%. Pero dahil meron tayong mga batas na nag-e-exempt ng mga corporations, ng mga government corporations specifically, GSIS, PhilHealth, local water districts, and SSS, then they are exempt from the 30% regular corporate income tax. Kasi sabi ng batas. Pero kapag walang sinabi yung batas, yung general rule ang mag-a-apply. Just like individual taxpayer, corporations also earn passive income. Interest income, 20%. Interest income under expanded foreign currency deposit system, 15%. And capital gains from sale of shares of stocks, same rule no sa individual. We have intercorporate dividends by a domestic, from another domestic. So kung na-receive yan ng domestic from a foreign, hindi siya exempt, okay? Exempt, okay? Capital gains, sale of real properties, 6% of the selling price, fair market value, assessed or zonal value, whichever is higher. Okay? Ayan yung comparable table natin, no, between RCIT and MCIT. So any question? Clear ba yung discussions natin for corporation, domestic corporations?
Attorney, question po.
Yes.
Attorney, regarding sa GOCC, attorney, absolute ba ang exemption sa katong mga gipang exempt nga GOCC sa balaod, attorney? What if ang halimbawa ang GSIS nasa income other than sa yung business? Dili siya related sa business tapos dako siya income dito, like let's say more than 50% po sa yung usual income. Absolute ba yung exemption ang attorney?
No, actually, these government corporations do not conduct unrelated activities. Dili man yung mga private institutions. That is beyond their charter already if they will conduct activities that are not covered by their that are not included in the purpose for which these government corporations are created. So that is illegal, no? Actually, kapag nag-conduct sila ng unrelated activities. So meaning to say, lahat ng income nila related talaga yan sa purpose ng government corporations. Any question? Any more question? So let me stop the recording na lang. Ano ba to? I-stop.